Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our limited series on the basic introduction to the Hebrew alphabet. And I hope that you've enjoyed the two that have happened so far. And if you haven't watched the other two, please go back and watch them and you'll see these all lead on one from the other, and I'm pretty sure that you're probably going to have to go back and watch some of the others again to get the full understanding of everything that I'm trying to get across to you. But I am trying to explain it as well as I possibly can, and we are trying to put as much information as we possibly can on the screen as well so that you can grasp everything that I'm saying. But there is a lot to it. These videos are short, but it's a lot of information. There is a lot to it. So, process it, let it run through your brain, go back and watch, again, write things down, just get to grips with some of it because it's worth it. It really, really is. I think if it draws you into wanting to study the Hebrew language or learn Hebrew, which is what it's done for me, then I think that is just, that's a win. So don't be discouraged or don't think, oh, this is so complicated. It's not actually that complicated. It's just sometimes the way that it has to be explained. But if you go and look at it yourself and you ask God to reveal his mysteries to you and you ask the Holy Spirit to actually show you some of the mysteries hidden in the alphabet, he will, because that's what he loves to do. So again, the intro video was 2 weeks back. Just if you haven't watched any of them yet, I really suggest you go back and watch the intro video because that just gives you an overview and an understanding and a foundation. And then the first letter was Aleph, which was last week, and they all lead on to one another. So I would encourage you to go back and watch that one as well. And as I say, they're short, so they don't take long. So this morning, we are going on to look at today, should I say? It's not morning anymore. We are going on to look at the second letter in the Hebrew alphabet, and that is the letter Bet or Vet. It is spelled both ways, and you will see why now. So we're going to look at our pictorial, our phonetic, and our numerical again, as I've done with Aleph, and as I will do with all the letters to come. And then we have a look at the mysteries, what the Jewish sages wrote and believed about the Hebrew alphabet and some of the things that God has revealed to us. So from a pictorial perspective, which goes back to ancient Hebrew, the pictograph for Bet or Vet was an open tent. So that symbolized house or dwelling, household, family, shelter, temple, palace, anywhere that you would have dwelt. It spoke about your house, your home, your family, and whatever you would have dwelt in. If you were a priest, you dwelt in a temple. If you were a king, you dwelt in a palace. If you were an ordinary person, you dwelt in a tent. So the letter was symbolized by an open tent. The classical Hebrew, which has moved on obviously from there, is written with 3 vavs. Now, you don't have to worry about the fact that you don't know what a vav is. We will get to vav later on, which is again why they're all connected. But that is how the classical Hebrew letter is written, with the 3 vavs. Now, phonetically, it is the sound of a B, a ba. But if it is written, you'll see the letter is written with a dot in the middle. If it is written with a dot in the middle, it is the sound of a ba, a B. If there is no dot in the middle, then it is a va, or the sound of a V. So that's how you know the difference between whether to pronounce it Bet or Vet. The number associated with Bet is number 2. It is the second letter in the Hebrew alphabet from right to left. And number 2 stands for agreement. And it also stands for, amazingly enough, ironically enough, actually, it also stands for division. So it can be either agreement or division, because it was on the second day that God parted the seas, and there are various reasons why 2 stands for, but the first and foremost meaning is agreement, but it can also mean division. And then the 3 vavs that make up the letter Bet all add up to 18, and that number means life. Now, what is so interesting about the letter Bet is it is the first letter of the Torah. And there is an ancient Jewish tale passed down through the ages where the Jewish sages believed that all the letters, the Hebrew letters, went before God, and they all asked whether they could be the first letter in the Torah. And the only letter that didn't ask was Aleph. And that's because Aleph is silent. So when God said to Aleph, why haven't you asked whether you can be the first letter? Aleph said, I don't have the place to ask because I'm actually silent. And God was so touched by Aleph's humility that he made Aleph the first letter of the alphabet. But Bet was the first letter in the Torah. And the reason for that is if you look in Genesis, where God says, where it says in the beginning, God created, in the beginning, the Hebrew word for in the beginning is actually the name of the book in the Hebrew language is Bereshit. And Bereshit starts with a B, which is Bet. So Bet is the very first letter of the Hebrew alphabet that is mentioned in the Torah. It is also used to reference Jesus. And the reason why is this. One of the reasons why, should I say, is this. The Hebrew word for create is bara. So when it said God created, they speak of bara. That's the Hebrew word for create. But in Aramaic, the word for son is bar. So you read in the Bible of, what was it? Someone bar Jonah, and it means son of. So the word for, in Aramaic, the word for son is bar. And if you separate bara, if you take the bar and then the a, and you divide those two up, you have bar aleph, which basically means the son of the father. So remember I said in the last video that aleph represents the father. So now we have bet that represents the son of the father, the son of aleph, the son of the father, which then leads us to reading the first verse of the Bible in a different way, where it actually says, or could potentially say, I'm not adding words to the Bible here, whereas it could potentially say something along the lines of, in the beginning was the son of Aleph. Now, that is amazing to me, because if you just cast your mind forward to the New Testament and you go to the beginning of John, what does John say? He's like, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God in the beginning. And when we know that the word he means there is Jesus. And then in the Hebrew, if you look deeper into just the etymology and the symbolism of the words, you actually can translate it or take it back to, in the beginning was the son of Aleph, which then matches up absolutely perfectly with what it says in John 1 verse 1, when he says, in the beginning was the Word. And you can understand that when John wrote that, he was a Hebrew, in a Hebrew culture, having learned the Torah in Hebrew, so he was able to make that association. But for us, we sometimes miss that association. We know that he meant Jesus, and we know that it's because Jesus is one with the Father, but we miss the actual association because we just don't understand the Hebrew language or the Hebrew alphabet. So that is the letter Bet or Vet. It's more commonly used as Bet. And that is the letter that we are going to have, that we've done for today. And you can see again, when I said to you in the last video, that it's a little story, because you go from Aleph, the father, to Bet, the son. And the story continues through the rest of the Hebrew alphabet. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it stirs things up inside of you the same way it stirs things up inside of me. I just get so excited by the depth of revelation that is just encapsulated in the alphabets, in the word, in the scriptures. It's just amazing to me, and I'm so passionate about it. So I hope that you get some of that passion, even in the midst of trying to understand what I'm saying. But and it's okay to go back and watch the others to just sort of cement it inside your mind. So that was the letter Bet. That's all we're going to do for today. But next week, which is next Tuesday, because today is Tuesday, we are going to have a look at the letter Gimel, which is the third letter of the Hebrew alphabet. In the meantime, if you have questions, if you have queries, if you want to know more, or you need an explanation on something, please feel free to message me. WhatsApp, email, social media, I'm there. Anything, reach out to me, and I'll do my best to answer your questions as well as I possibly can. And maybe it's an answer that we discover together, because this is a journey that we're taking together. So I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday, and we will go on to Gimel. Love you lots. See you soon. Bye.